all experience, whether it be family members or relationships or children or health issues. It's been a really tough time for a lot of people. I can't say that I haven't had that level of experience. I've lost a lot of family. I've been through a divorce. There's a lot, that we have all gone through, and I respect that. I respect that about a lot of people who are able to write about it. I know that for me, it's been a very healing journey, and the writing started actually with during the pandemic, when it shut down in March of 2020. I was invited to write with a group of women who are Latin Americans, and we amassed a large body of work, and it was edited down to a book. The book is called Inficciones. This is the book that we created. And this book, actually, it's the little book. It's an anthology, 11 authors. And this book actually won an International Latino Book Award honorable mention from Edward James Olmos. And I actually was able to, about less than a month ago, I met him at La Leaf at the Latino International Film Festival. And I was able to thank him for that personally. I found out that he was actually dying of cancer last year. So I was really, really grateful that I was able to approach him and tell him who I was and talk to him about my work. And this is not the only thing that I do. I am not only a poet, I'm actually an interdisciplinary artist. And it's interesting that you brought up the music industry. I started my career in the music industry as a label representative for a lot of different labels. And I did work in the golden years of Interscope Records. I worked the Dre record. I've worked in the urban music, and I actually broke a lot of Latin artists also at Polygram Latino. So I come from a music background, as a representative for the music business. But seeing as I could do that for other artists, now that I know how to pivot, and sales are sales, you can sell anything the way you want to sell it. And it's a different thing. It's not music, it's literature. I do a little bit of everything. I'm a filmmaker, I'm a producer, I'm a playwright, I'm a music supervisor, I'm a painter, a photographer, an art docent, a curator, and a marketing executive for a nonprofit, a film nonprofit. So I do a lot of things, and I'm always happy to help a lot of artists. If I can guide you in the right direction, I'm happy to do that. So right now, what I've been doing a lot are I've had about 3 plays staged in the past 6 months, which is unheard of. I'm very fortunate that that's happened. I don't take anything for granted. I actually was honored to be chosen by Luis J. Rodriguez to direct 6 of the scenes from his work, Always Running. And I staged that play over at the MKM Hearts. It's a community center, an arts center in North Hollywood. And that was for the 30th anniversary of his work. So I'm very honored that the Los Angeles Poet Society and Luis Rodriguez approached me to do that. It's a dream come true. I mean, to be, able to work with him and to speak to him about his work and embody the work on a stage and breathe life into it is a big deal. And I'm very honored that I was able to do that. I mean, I never imagined. And then the other plays that I've written with a group of women called Chicanas, Cholas, and Chisme. And that work was staged for me at the Frida Kahlo Theater. And it's been an amazing experience. From there, I've met other playwrights, and I wrote another play called it's called Rebel Heart, and I just staged it a few weeks ago also at Stomping Grounds in El Sereno. So I've had an amazing run recently with my artistic work, and I'm really, really fortunate. This coming weekend, since you asked, Andrea, thank you, I am going to be reading with a group of very supportive members of the artistic community that have embraced me. Hadrian Miguel Sean and Cinnamon. So there are people that are from an organization called Speak Out, and so we're going to be reading plays at the Queer Mercado, which is a place where a lot of the LGBTQ plus community comes together, and they sell their artistic wares, and so they have a stage there, and they have performance artists, and they have poets. So I was invited to come and read, and so I'm very happy to do so this weekend. So I'm really excited about that. And also with the film nonprofit, we have an event called Viva Cineasta, which is going to be happening in the Hollywood Hills in October. And I've curated the art event, and I have Chicanas that are painters who are going to be exhibiting their work. And also our students who are making their films at the Radford Studios for Girls in Focus are going to be exhibiting they're going to be showing some of their work there. So I'm very excited about all of the things that are happening. And I've signed on for several films now to be a producer and to be a screenwriter for different companies and for different independent projects. Unfortunately, today the strike occurred, and the Screen Actors Guild has gone forth, and they're going to be striking, and the Writers Guild is also still striking. So we have to be solid with that and support our artists, get out there and do some walking and meet new people. Perhaps I'm sure you're going to meet a lot of really famous people if you go out there and support the artists that are going to be out there on the picket lines, because it's an important time for all of us to go out there and support each other. So I really hope that everybody will get out there and have that experience, because it still does impact us. Even though that we are independent artists, we all get our turn, and we will all be able to be that artist. So get out there, figure out what's going on, and learn how to protect your intellectual property, learn how to create more intellectual property, and learn how to get out there and support each other, because the artistic community has got to bind together all the time. So that's where that's where it is. Yeah. I'm going to read a poem that I wrote in this book. And this is the poem that set it all off. And I wrote it to my cousin, who actually passed away during the pandemic. It was in a very tragic way, but we still remember her fondly, and I'm still very grateful to her, and I hope that she's resting in peace. And her name was Paulina. Todo me duele. Quiero café. No puedo con la taza. Me quiero bañar. Se me pegan las colchas. Tengo hambre. Prefiero dormir. Prefiero dormir. Prefiero dormir. Honestamente, prefiero morir. Pero tú me ganaste la partida. La muerte escoge, sin rima y sin razón. Y ahí vamos. Somos parientes. La sangre llama. Nadie dispone. El destino es ese. Unos viven más tiempo en la tierra, otros viven menos tiempo. Unos mueren pronto, otros andan muertos vivos. Caminando miserables por el mundo. Y no hay rima y no hay razón. Aquí quedan tus huellas. Nadie las borra. Nadie se atrevería. Jamás fuiste amada, jamás fuiste apreciada. Extrañamente hoy te recuerdan con amor y anhelo. Se sienten culpables, quieren recompensa inmediata. Tu recompensa es el cielo eterno. Vuela lejos de aquí, lejos del mundo que no te comprendió ni te quiso. Vete con Dios. Él te dará todo lo que nosotros no te dimos. Jamás nos apreciamos, jamás nos visitamos. El día que te vi, el odio y el egoísmo nos ganó. Y aquí estamos. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that piece and sharing your truth. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are going to roll it back to Estella. Estella, bless our mic again.
All right. Now, this poem, I performed it at the book release for my book release, and I hope I remember it. Okay, here we go. Love note to the benevolent beast. As I look from behind the glass window, extending as a horizon does, and wrapped in metallic frames like a work of art, The cacti called out from beneath the red, burning Mexican sun. As my sisters and I run to this moving, shaking Pullman platform window, the sky turns orange as this train rounds a curve. I see walking men wearing white pants held up by brown and colorful belts, pulling burros across the cactus-strewn landscape, huaraches trotting on rocky ground. We then dangerously hang our heads out this window, open our mouths wide and smile, sang to the Beatles and Earth, Wind, and Fire as it growled and grumbled past the canyons of Chihuahua, south past the hot desert hurricanes that consisted of swirling, hovering sands, past the rain dangling in the distance in the shape of an inverted ice cream cone, past shacks devoid of people but filled with harvests of Aztec golden maize. These, these were some of the happiest times of my childhood, the 60s and the 70s, heading south to Familia, when I would have never imagined a bird would be in my future, a bird that would guide me the same way this beast did. Until it was time to go back, when the winds would shift, when school in East LA would start, when summer's heat would die like a bee after its juicy stinger flicks off. My Mexico was a connection to self. And in September, this beast would take us back north and stop in Juarez, where in El Paso, we'd hop on a sterile, shiny Amtrak that would pass the hills by Dodger Stadium. Here, on this platform, I hear the tracks and the squeals of steel and couplings. I feel the warmth on my cheeks. I am in heaven, in love with my childhood. Thankful to Mama and Papa when living in two worlds was like two handfuls of masa colliding. They belonged together and meshed me into who I was to be. Thank you.
Now, here's some backstory on this piece, right? You had to be at her book release. When I tell you she brought down a house and it was a standing ovation. She had the lights, she had the music, and she took you on a journey. And we can all relate to different aspects of her poem. Beautiful, 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 Estella.
Thank
So
you.
much.
Thank you. It was very dramatic that day, but thank you.
Yes, it was so beautiful. I was like, yes.
As it should be.
Yes. Coming back up to bless our mic is Lucas. Lucas, the mic's on you.
So I forgot to mention. Someone talked about community. Well, Andrea and Estella talked about community and other folks, but it's important that you connect with a community, right? I wouldn't been able to finish my book if it wasn't for community literature, and TLI just it allowed me to pause for a second of the busy work that I was doing. Although I was supporting other artists and doing all this other stuff, it allowed me to work on my own art, right, and build a community that supported it. So, thank you all that's here from CLI, and thank you, Hiram, for all the amazing work that you've done the past 10 years for this amazing community to be lifted and seated and, sprouting these amazing poets. And yeah. So I'm going to read this piece called In the Beginning, give you a sense of how I came to be. In the beginning, at least the beginning of my beginning, although I came in the middle of this story, sitting at the center of two brothers that came before and two that came after, I stand, pulled by dreams that never came and hope that someday may change our outcome. That's where it all began. And I, for years after, struggled to find who I am. One of five individual spirits, curated by one light, a light dimming in a journey of heartbreak and struggle. And I, for years after, wondered where I fit in. Coming to terms as if it was already destined for me, I breathe. Inhale the dilemma at hand, a band with five lead singers, inexperienced manager, no lights, no sound, no stage. Mama, who did the best she could at the edge of fight or flight, and three baby daddies, with the last one at war with addiction, never taking responsibility but convincing Mama that he would. And that's where Papa stood, and that's where I stand. Exhale in order to find my place in this space, on this stage. This song was already written long time ago. I stand. Inhale the scent of mango trees, la isla de encanto, mi tierra, the land that held my spirit, my feet grounded in the beginning of my dreams, our fears, her escape. We gave her life, she said, but it was her that saved ours. We stood. Five lead singers of one band, and I the center and beginning of the new verse. Exhale the one note that pivots a narrative told many years ago. Inhale the trauma Mama endured by Papa's addiction, afflicting pain so deep in her composition it made boleros sound like carnival. Heartbroken and its broken pieces torn, and its torn essence crushed, made to dust that she thought was love. And in my beginning comes after, the third of five, the center. And throughout my life, I grappled to center self. I close my eyes and remember the scent of La Isla, as if I was still standing in its yunque, the sound of the coqui, the majestic melody of its indigenous opera. Mama truly felt as if life was giving her a third chance, greeting Papa at the door as he returned from war, soon realizing that war never returned Papa. In the beginning, at least the beginning of my beginning, her third hope. Instead, she endured the pain and suffering of a new man's trauma. It was her that saved us. Mama thought it was the beginning of new dreams brought to light, dreams realized by promises fading in clear sight. She thought that this now new man, dream, will stay a little longer, linger and manifest happier days. I remember the last time Papa went away. Fleeing it all, she packed her lead singers and took us on tour. One way trip to the States, she wrote our next song. Thank you.
Now, when Luke was in our class, he sometimes had his music background, his piano, and he always brought it. I'm gonna need you to bring it. For next poem, we got to hear some kind of musical instrument, Lucas. Come on. Up next, and also we all share spaces with a lot of different amazing poets and platforms like Los Angeles Poet Society. I was there on the day that what Lupe was talking about when she produced everything, and we had it there at the art center. I can't remember the name of it, but I also cooked there. It was just a beautiful experience with everybody coming together. It was so full. You just left so full. I did not want to leave, but I had another program to go through too, and I tried to stay as long as I could. But it was such a beautiful, impactful event, and I really appreciate everybody that came together for that event. That's what community is, and that's what we try to do here at the Artist Connection. Up next to bless our mic is Crystal. Crystal, bless our mic again. The mic's on you.
Okay. So I'm going to read a mom poem. I have my teenager watching. And I won't do the poem that I wrote about her just so I won't embarrass her, but this one is called Postpartum Mom. Cinnamon dust fills my nostrils, flame on medium heat, nagging from the puberty stricken teen, cries from the upset toddler, the other pulls on my insides and retracts to my ribs. And now, suddenly, I am a 30-year-old parent. You would think the mama routine becomes simple, quite effortless. Yet we made it this far, while we wither in our physique, saggy tits, leaky nipples, slouchy postpartum bellies scorned for not bouncing back, indented rough patch streaks throughout my body, baby blues that were uninvited, but we managed to set this aside. Our happiness becomes the enlivened sacred space they call home.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yes, beautiful.